Transformation. What a deliciously challenging word. It suggests metamorphosis, rebirth even, doesn't it? Today, dear friends, we embark on such a journey not outward but inward. The title of our tale, 9 Ways to Change Your Anxious Attachment Style to a Secure Attachment. Quite the mouthful, I agree, but it's the substance that will intrigue you. This is not some fleeting promise of change or an overnight miracle. No, no, no. Change of this nature is a craft, an art, one that demands care, patience, and a touch of wisdom. It is a journey towards something far greater than mere stability. It is about reclaiming the sanctuary of your own heart. But let us not dawdle. The question is immediate. How do we move from the chaotic seas of anxiety to the tranquil shores of security? 1. Find a partner who models security. Consider this first step akin to learning a new language. You need immersion. Surround yourself with someone who speaks the dialect of secure attachment fluently. A partner who doesn't flinch at vulnerability, who doesn't retreat at intimacy, will act as your most effective teacher. But beware. It's not about relying on them to fix you. Rather, it's about observing, learning, and growing alongside them. 2. Confront the shadow of shame. Shame. It is the ghost in the attic of so many hearts. It whispers cruel things. You're too much, or you're not enough. But let me share a secret, whispered down the corridors of history. Shame thrives in silence. Speak it aloud. Examine it under the light of compassion. Its power diminishes when you recognize it as a lie. 3. Build the fortress of self-esteem. How does one build a fortress? Brick by brick, my friend. Self-esteem is no different. Engage in acts that make you proud of yourself, however small. Compliment yourself as often as you'd compliment a friend. And remember, self-esteem is not arrogance. It is the quiet confidence that comes from knowing your worth. 4. Speak your needs with clarity. Here's a question for you. When did asking for what you need become synonymous with selfishness? Anxious attachment often tricks you into thinking that your needs are a burden. Nonsense. Practice expressing your emotions and desires with clarity and kindness. The act of asking is not a demand. It is an invitation to connect. 5. Banish the subtle game of manipulation. Oh, we've all done it, haven't we? A silent treatment here, a veiled comment there, all in an effort to elicit the response we crave. But the truth is this: manipulation poisons connection. Replace it with vulnerability, raw and unadorned. It may be frightening, but it is also disarming and far more effective. 6. Befriend your inner critic. Imagine, if you will, a radio stuck on the frequency of criticism. It plays incessantly in the background, doesn't it? Here's what you must do. Don't smash the radio, befriend it. Observe its patterns, predict its cues, and in doing so, rob it of its power. Treat your inner critic like a grumpy old neighbor whose stories you've heard 100 times. They're not scary once you know the script. 7. Learn the art of self-soothing. The beauty of self-soothing. Picture yourself as a ship in a stormy sea. The waves of anxiety crash against you, but you have an anchor. That anchor is self-soothing. Whether it's through music, a walk in the woods, or a quiet moment of breathwork, you must discover what calms your storms. It is the first act of self-love. 8. Turn the spotlight inward. Far too often, anxious attachment makes us actors in a play where the spotlight is perpetually on the other person. But here's the twist. Turn that light inward. Take yourself on dates, revel in hobbies, rediscover the joy of solitude. When you nourish your relationship with yourself, you become less dependent on external validation. 9. Seek the wise counsel of therapy. Finally, the unsung hero of transformation. Therapy. A therapist is like a guide through the labyrinth of your past, a steady hand to untangle the threads of trauma and fear. They can help you confront the roots of your anxious attachment, equipping you with tools to not just survive, but thrive. But let me share one final truth. Change is rarely linear. There will be moments when you feel as though you've regressed, as though the tides of anxiety have swept you back to the shores of old patterns. When that happens, remember, progress is not a straight line, but a spiral. Each loop brings you closer to the heart of who you are. So, my dear viewers, I leave you with this. Your attachment style is not a cage, nor is it a life sentence. It is simply a story that you have the power to rewrite. With patience, effort, and the steps we've discussed today, you can transform your anxious attachment into something secure, steady, and deeply beautiful. The question isn't whether you're capable of change. The question is whether you'll take the first step. And on that note, I invite you to begin. After all, the journey to security begins not in leaps, but in a single, deliberate step forward.